Right, I'm using an airbrush and brushwork on this wallet. So the airbrush I'm using is the Badger Renegade Chrome. You might notice I've put my trigger pad on it, which is what I always do now. I'm going to explain that a little bit further actually. I feel quite strongly about the trigger pads on my airbrushes. When you get standard airbrush from the factory, whether it's from Badger, Iwata, Harder and Steenbeck, Pache, anybody, the trigger I find is always too low. It's too low, and it's just a disc. It's basically it's a disc, and for something that you're going to be pressing and pulling back on throughout your artwork, I think it should just be more comfortable. So what I've been doing now for over 10 years is adding a pad to the top of the trigger. Now I've tried different profiles, different shapes, different materials, but this is the most comfortable I've come up with so far, and this is the one that I've attached to all my airbrushes now. It's basically, I've got a hole punch, or that sometimes they call it a wad punch, and I've punched out a piece of the black foam packing that comes in the airbrush box that you get, and I've punched that out. I've curved the top of it with a scalpel, and then what I've done is I've cut out an oval of soft leather, and I've glued that on top. Now what that does is it gives me a lovely wide surface. It rolls back with my finger. I've got no that front edge on the standard factory airbrush, factory trigger. It just gets in the way of your finger, and the higher you make this trigger, the more control you've got, because you can actually pull back smaller amounts to get more detail. I mean, I'd already like a trigger up here really, but obviously you're not going to be able to use it. Your finger couldn't reach there. But if you did that, you can make more minute trigger movements, or rather you can make longer trigger movements, and you'll make a smaller movement down here, which makes really fine detail work much easier. So if you can build this up by about 10mm, it does help in your detail work. And that style of trigger, you can see the amount of surface area I've got for my finger. It's so much nicer. So if you want to give that a go, you could paint all day with this and your finger wouldn't feel anything. I guess it's like a bit of not a very good analogy really, is trying to drive without shoes on. It's, you know, you just get you want some kind of a pad, I think, between your finger and the trigger. So that's what I do to all my airbrushes. Just want to explain that. I've had a few people asking me about it, so there you go.